Good evening. Are we live? We're live.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Okay. Well, I guess I'll start off, right?
Yeah.
okay.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of astronomy edutainment of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. Time to get on board. My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. I'm very pleased to introduce my two co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Hey, Paul. And our other co-host this evening, Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in beautiful St. John. Mike, evening. There, okay, got it.
Nanu.
Yeah. We'd also like to welcome all of you tonight, and all of you who are joining us through the Rogers TV network too. Thank you so much for your support. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you for everybody for sharing my post earlier tonight. We had like 60 shares, so a lot of people got the idea that we were going to go live. So that's always awesome. It's great to know. We put a lot of work into the show, so happy to have you all do that. That's perfect. Okay, so then on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, how do you enjoy the beauty of the night skies when you're a legally blind astronomer? Our guest tonight, RASC member and friend Tim Doucette, has his unique story to share with us, and we'll have a discussion about that. We'll also spend some time discussing about how the summer season has treated him and what's new in his part of the world. Tim has been with us here in the show in the past, and we're happy to welcome him back once again. Good evening, Tim. Welcome back, sir. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Chris. Thanks very much for having me. It's always a great time.
Awesome. We're also going to have our new segments tonight. Ask an Amateur. Paul's going to give us that segment tonight. I'll do the celestial event of the week. We either have a product of the week or Mike, it's going to be product of the week tip, right?
Both.
Kind of combo.
It's a mix.
Okay, we'll go with it. Anyway, not sure which one Mike will provide tonight, but we'll get a good talking, I'm sure, anyway. And we'll have another interesting Bud as well, and Rosanna's fun facts, and all of this, plus all of your wonderful photo submissions as well. So we got a pretty busy show again tonight. So first up this evening, conversation with our friend and fellow astronomer, Tim Doucette. Evening, Tim. Now, for those of you who may not be aware how you started out in the hobby, maybe you can give us a couple of ideas on where you started.
Well, how did I start in astronomy? Well, I started and stopped and started up again.
Like the first and second, doesn't matter.
But for me, I was interested in astronomy because I was fascinated with the moon when I was very young, probably about 5 years old. And the reason basically that I think that is because it's one of the things I saw. So I was born blind and I had congenital cataracts. And after a year and a half went by, I got my first pair of glasses or so around that time, and I was able to see, but before that I could only see light, literally light, and that's about it. But I was always fascinated with lights, and when, being in a room, my bedroom, where I could actually see the moon, I think that's where my original fascination with what's in the sky started. But because my eyesight essentially didn't get a chance, I sort of was discouraged with astronomy by the age of 12. I kind of gave it up, and my eyesight had got worse. So I kind of gave that up for about 15 years. And I had surgery back then to sort of help my eyes a little bit. And then about 15 years later, like I said, my wife Amanda bought me a little telescope from Costco. And she wanted me to have a hobby, really, because I was playing too many video games, right? So I had to get out of there and do something with my son, who was 3 at the time. And it turned out to be a good thing for me and him. And I joined up with a group from the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada and just made a discovery that even though I'm legally blind with only 10% eyesight, I was stargazing with them one night to see what I could really see through an amateur telescope, because the one I had was just a little 4-inch department store brand thing, right? So I was still fascinated with it, and went stargazing and was able to see things that other people were not seeing in a telescope. And from that point, everything just completely did a 360. I was totally fascinated and joined with Rask and did a lot of outreach. And, here we are today and at the Deep Sky Observatory, which we created in 2016. So,
so Tim has this, a fantastic business going on right now in Quinnen, just outside of Yarmouth. And he's actually into the astrotourism field of work, I'll say, of study and or study of business. And he's been entertaining a number of people down there this year. I know this year has been a really tough year for a lot of us. As Tim said, you've had your experiences too, I guess, with the forest fires this year as well, right?
Yeah, I've pretty much called, we've nicknamed this summer of 2023, the summer of 4 Fs: fires, floods, fog, and forgetfulness. Because I think with all the fires, floods, and fogs, people are forgetting all of their belongings at the observatory and the campground.
That's brain fog. That's the other part.
Shipping it back to them. It's been just crazy compared to years past. So I'm not sure what's.
So do you have any new gear?
That's usually the start of it, yeah.
If I tell you, then yes, you will believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. That plane wave was never here.
I remember, I think one of the first times we met Tim was at Fundy, I think. I remember being at Star Party with Get Fundy, and you were looking at what was it up in Cygnus, Paul? What's that thing up in Cygnus?
Which thing? There's so many.
I can't think of the name of it right now.
North American Nebula, probably.
No, it wasn't North American Nebula. It's
Veil?
Oh, then it would have been the Veil.
Yeah.
The Veil.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember Tim was up at a scope. He's looking through the eyepiece, and he was describing the veil, shape of the veil, and everybody else went to the eyepiece, couldn't see a thing. Like, it's just like, what is he saying? Later on, looked it up. It was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we were seeing. But yeah, you're quite capable of seeing things that no one else could really see because of the surgery that you had, right, as well.
Yeah, so your pupils, right, as you look through, as you get accustomed to the dark, your pupils open and open up to let all that light in. A normal person like yourself and would have a pupil size between 2 and 8 millimeters. Because of my surgery, my pupils are permanently open; they don't change, and they're essentially at 13.
Wow.
So I get a lot of more light in there. On the other hand, your eye has a lens in your eye to magnify and focus the light on your retina. Mine, I don't have lenses. They had to remove them completely. And those lenses actually filter out ultraviolet light as well. And that's when I made the discovery the first night when I was with Rask and I was looking through an eyepiece and I was looking at the Ring Nebula and I was describing it. And my friend was like, well, you shouldn't be able to see that with this size telescope. I'm like, well, I'm the blind one, so I don't know what you're talking about. Wow. And that's when I made that discovery. It was my friend Charles Doucette and my friend Emma McPhee. I was with them, and it was an enlightenment experience. And from that point, I never looked back.
Wow.
The other amazing thing I think was the night that we were down there at I think it was at Fundy again, and you had a new camera.
Oh, yes.
Playing with the camera. We were saying, yeah, I know, but I just have to turn it around this way or something. And it turned it up and it took a click and the bowl light came flying through the sky.
You nailed it dead center.
Dead center of your shot. Just like, how do you work this thing? Bang, took a picture. Just shot right through the shot.
I think I was standing right beside you and we couldn't believe how perfectly centered that shot was. And how perfect that image came out. We were like, that's publishable right from this.
I think you did share that.
That's part lucky imaging, I think. And,
oh yeah,
it happens all the time. No.
Well, who else, right?
Maybe a sixth sense.
It worked. I know that.
We're going to get into a discussion here too, but about how your summer's been going, Tim, and how things did turn out for you this summer. We're going to move ahead just for a moment though on the albino bud maybe next. And we're going to keep coming back to discussion. This is the way we like to run the show now. It's kind of nice to break it up and nice to keep thoughts going. So how about albino bud, Mike?
Albino bud.
I guess that's Mike.
Hopefully I got the music right this time. right, binocular target of the week this week by Bino Bud is home plate. Kicking out some dust. So this asterism field is located just west of M31 of the Andromeda Galaxy, which is very conspicuous, obviously, in binoculars because it stands right out when you find it. But with a binocular field of view of about 7.5 degrees, you can just barely fit home plate in the same field of view as M31. So it's very, very close. If you can find M31, you can find the home plate. Now, how do I find it in the sky? Well, I'd say most nights if it was clear, which it hasn't been lately, but if you went outside at 9:30, pointed yourself due east, looked up, you'll see the Great Square of Pegasus. A lot of people know how to find the Andromeda Galaxy just by going over 2 stars and up 2 stars. There'd be Andromeda, and just off to the right of it is home plate. So it's not really hard to find. If you can find Andromeda, you'll find home plate. What would you see? Well, look up. There it is, that diamond, the home plate diamond. It's perfect almost. It stands right out against the background stars. It looks pretty cool. It is definitely, you can say, yep, that's home plate. Not for Blue Jay fans, unfortunately. They won't see home plate again this year. But for the rest of us, we get to see it. 10 by 50 binoculars, nice field of view, nice size. It's stands right out against the background. You'll know when you're on it. You can't miss that diamond. Compared to the full moon, it's at least the size of the full moon, if not a little bit bigger, as you can tell here. And bad joke of the week. What did the alien say to the grower? Take me to your weeder.
No. Oh.
That's binocular target of the week by Bino Bud.
I think I saw Paul writing that one down.
Yeah, it's I like it. Take me to your weird. I love it. I think cannabis Roger could use that.
Yeah.
Thanks a bunch, Mike. Okay, we got Bino Bud out of the way. Tim, tell us a little bit about your summer, how that went this year.
Well, I mean, besides when we had clear nights, we had a lot of folks that visited, that stayed for the observatory when it was clear. We had people that stayed overnight. We had a lot of people celebrating anniversaries, birthdays, even honeymooners. We had 2 or 3 honeymooners that stayed overnight in our sky bubble tents and saw, awesome, got a really good view of the night sky, like all night. And
honeymooners are looking at the night sky.
Well, that's the other question. We're kind of wondering. But I mean, we had a really fun time with all the folks that were celebrating these events, and we did the best we could with what we had. So people that stay overnight, here at our place will go and do their kayaking as well. We have kayaks on the river and stuff, so they can go kayaking. And, we have the campfires. So it's really a peaceful place for people to come, even though there's no stars sometimes. And when there is, it's awesome. And, we've had people that, and it's amazing. We always have 1 or 2 during the year that will look through an eyepiece and look at something and just like, not just the, oh my God, but some of them actually go into tears. Yeah. Because it's something they've never seen and never thought they would ever see. And, it's like, and they want to come back and see it again and look at it again. And, for me, when I, really start getting people, excited about astronomy and we do the experience, we've even had people who have done other stargazing experiences around the world, and they're coming here and they're telling me and posting online, this is the best, experience we've ever had looking at the night sky.
Awesome.
So it justifies, what I'm doing. And, similar, the same thing, what you guys are doing with the show, it just justifies what you're doing by encouraging people, showing them something they've never seen. To me, it's, that's sort of in a way my motivation to really get into that, teaching astronomy. And it's not just teaching astronomy. You can teach astronomy all you want, but when you show something to somebody that really they've never seen before, that's what that's when it clicks with them.
Absolutely.
This
Do
summer
you
was
have oh sorry. Do you have a moment or moments like that still for yourself?
all the time. All the time. Like there's one crater, like even looking at the moon, like, we've seen the moon 100 times, 1,000 times. And then, all of a sudden you see something on the moon that you haven't, like this summer I saw, there was one crater I haven't had a chance to look at to find out what it was, but I've logged it and I'm going to go look to see, find out what it was, because it would look very different compared to, it's been there all along. It's just the color, the shadows that it was casting, and from the mountains or from the rim of the crater, it was like, wow, I've never seen that before in that way. So there's always something that you see that that you've maybe never seen before. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Myself.
I do a lot of outreach. Well, I haven't this year a whole lot, but anyway, the years that I do have done a lot of outreach, I've never really paused to take a look at the moon myself as much as sharing it with others, right? Yeah. And I did that about a month ago. I stopped and I said, something, I'm not going to go live tonight. I'm just going to sit and measure, Mike. I did that, Mike. I'm not going to go live tonight. I'm just going to sit and look at the moon, and it just blew me away. And every single time it does. Like it's so close and it's so available to you, and it doesn't have to be all nighttime observing, and you can look at maps ahead of time. If you want to study just one specific, one particular spot of the moon, you can. It's viewable through binoculars. Smallest telescopes will pick it up. You don't have to have any really special, really expensive equipment to be able to enjoy it. I think there's still those wow moments for all of us when we look at the moon or Saturn. I mean, that's the other big one, of course, right? Always been, but
yeah. I find too, when you're looking at stuff and you're really trying to, like when you're sharing it with somebody, you're kind of in that moment of trying to make sure they get that best experience that they can. And that could mean different things. It could mean helping them adjust their eyes, their head to make sure they're looking through the eyepiece. It could be changing the eyepiece because they're not, because of their eyes a little bit different than yours. And that's one thing I always, and that's going to be one of my questions in my booking for next year. Do you have a visual impairment, and what is it? Because that will make a difference on what type of eyepiece I use, or, that kind of thing. But mostly when people are done and everybody goes home, I've still got the telescope set up and pointed at those targets. And a lot of times I'm sitting there looking at those targets for 15, 20 minutes, before I pack it all up and go home, even though it might be like 12 o'clock at night. Because I think that, and for me, I have to have that as well, because I love it. So.
You've been involved a lot with the community down there too, with light pollution and things like that, light pollution abatement especially. We're going to talk about that too when we come right back to you. We're going to move ahead to an Ask an Amateur topic maybe right now. Paul, if you can offer us that.
All right, let's see if I can't get that working right here. All right, this is my first time with this one, so we'll see what we can do. So here's tonight's. Tonight's Ask an Amateur. So tonight's topic is a little timely, as it does tend to be by times. And we're going to talk tonight, if I can find it, just hang on one second. The question came in from Janice P, and she asks, can I photograph the total solar eclipse safely, and what are the steps? And I thought about this for a little bit, and then I thought, okay, you know what? I don't think this is a very difficult thing to do. Tim, you've done one before. I think you traveled to do it. And once you kind of get into doing it, it's not that difficult. So I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen for a minute. And I'm going to show you something I did just this afternoon in a few minutes to make my solar eclipse viewing, which is coming up in April, a lot easier. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is protect your eyes if you're going to observe, or protect your camera if you're going to take a picture. And the filter of choice will be a white light filter. So I made this little guy this afternoon. It was really quite simple to do. As you can see, it's quite simple in construction. I just used a piece of sun-safe solar filter. I took 2 pieces of cardboard, just 2 pieces like this, and cut a hole in one, cut a hole in the other, sandwiched the 2 pieces, or sandwiched the mylar between the 2 pieces. There's my base. And then all I had to do was figure out on my telescope right up here how big the diameter of my telescope was. So all I had to do there is take a piece of cardboard, take a circle, make sure that it fit around the end of my telescope. And if it did, then I just simply taped it to the cardboard. So it's just that simple how to make one. Once you've got it made, the key thing to this, it'll slide right on, or it should. So I probably won't now that I'm showing you. There we go. And it slides right on. It's nice and tight. And basically, when I'm ready to start viewing the sun or start imaging the sun, that's all you need. So yeah, safety first. Make something like this. Make sure it's taut and tight. I'll show you how tight this is. I'm going to aim that towards. You should be able to see that, I think. Watch how the mylar gets sucked in. It's getting sucked in because I create a vacuum. That's how tight this is. So it's not going to come off. I'm pulling the dew shield out with it right now. And there she goes, and off she comes. So if you make it so that it's that tight, make sure that you have it so that it's not going to come apart on you. And I've done a few of these over the years. They're really, really easy to do. That's all you need to do. So you can do it on, if you have a telescope, if you want to take pictures with your telescope, you can do that. You can do it with a camera. So all you got to do is exactly the same thing. Just measure the piece of cardboard enough to go over the lens of your camera. Or if you want to just kind of observe, like a lot of people like to do, then you can do, like Bino Bud says, you can make 2 of them, and you can actually do 2 of them for your binoculars. So they're really simple to do. Or you can take the tips of your binoculars off if you want to, and just cut holes in them and then put the mylar in there. And then they'll just slide right back over on your telescope. Just make sure that they're nice and taut so that they won't come off. So if you're going to do this for observing, or if you're going to do it for imaging, the principles apply really for both. So can you do this safely? Yes, you can. But I would recommend that you, if you're not part of an astronomy club, or RASC even, you can even still go on RASC site and you can find information on how to put these together safely, the proper paper and the techniques and all that stuff. It's real simple. And I'm going to share my screen again, and I just want to share 2 slides with some interesting things that I think if people want to take a screenshot of this, that it might be quite beneficial to them. Let me just get the picture up here first, and I'll share my screen one more time. I'm keeping this simple for time's sake, but so can you see my screen again?
Yep.
Okay, so this screenshot, if you want to take it, so this is eclipse settings for DSLR and or mirrorless cameras, and it's just a little description. So on a sunny day, well in advance of an eclipse, place your camera in manual mode, set the ISO to 100 or 200, set the aperture to f8. Attach your solar filter before you even point it at the sun. Very important. You don't want to damage your camera or your eyes. And shoot a range of different short exposures right at the sun, likely in a range from 1/500th to 1/4000th of a second, and see which image turns out best. From there, you'll be adjusting your aperture to suit the brightness levels of the sun as the moon travels across it. Now, during the total phase, because we're talking about the total eclipse, the filters have to come off, because if you don't take them off, you're not going to have a picture. And this is probably the key picture that you want of the whole thing. So make sure you take those off. And so here are some total. Oh, by the way, when you're done, as it's past its totality and it's starting to go back into another phase, put the filters back on. So you got to make sure that they're only off during totality. So here's the total solar guidelines. And what this is just basically gives you the idea of whatever shutter speed you're going to use. And it gives you the different phases of the eclipse. So the outer corona, the mid corona, the inner corona, the diamond ring, the Bailey's bead, and the prominences. So these are some settings that you can use as guidelines. So when you're going out there, you'll kind of know what to do with your stuff. So that I think covers what I want to talk about this week, and that is this week's. Oh, there we go. That was this week's Ask the Amateur. So yeah, so some good information there. It's coming up. It'll be here before you know it. So it's always in good order to prepare yourself and practice with your camera on the sun prior to the eclipse, so that you're not sitting there trying to figure it out then, because you'll miss both seeing it and imaging it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Paul.
Right.
There was a really cool display I saw. It was Astronomers Without Borders. They had a short live video up yesterday, and they were at the Montreal University, I believe, out in the field there, setting up for the display. But anyway, somebody had a small 60mm refractor, and they had on the end, they had the solar filter on the front, and at the far end, they had almost like a McDonald's cup, like a or a coffee cup kind of thing. Hey, Tim Hortons coffee cup, perfect use, Mike. Tim Hortons cup turned upside down, and they were using like the bottom part of the cup as the part that would reflect the sunlight. So you would be sitting there and looking at the bottom of the cup, basically, and the sun was there, part of the sun was eclipsed. And a lot of people could come by and look at that bottom of the cup at the same time. So you could do lots of outreach at the same. People could just walk by and take a look and see what you're displaying. Really simple idea. The solar filter in the front, of course, still, but that the sun's so bright coming through that it just lit up the bottom of the cup, really nicely. So
Fantastic.
Neat little idea. I have a question here, I guess. A question for Tim. Seeing that you can see more than the average, do you still use the filters, UHC or O3 filters, when you're observing?
Filters? No, not for observing. I've found that they do block a fair amount of light. I've tried them. I have some. When I'm looking at the different nebula, I will try them, but 90% of the time I find that it doesn't really add a whole lot. It does dim sometimes the background. I mean, I'm in a fairly dark sky, so light pollution filters tend to not really do a whole lot as far as visual observing. They do help a lot with photographing the sky, of course, because with photography, you can actually, your cameras are more sensitive, and they'll pick up more light pollution quicker. But as far as your eyes are concerned, at least for me, it doesn't do a whole lot.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to come back to you, Tim, in a minute about light pollution abatement down in your area, and we're just going to go with the celestial wonder of the week right now. I think I just want to get through that one really quickly. Give me a second here. I'll bring it up on the right screen, I think. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, should be screen 2. Should be this guy, I think. So I just need a second to see where it's going to pop up. Should go here.
Yep.
Get it? Awesome. Okay. All right. Celestial wonder of the week of this week is going to be the Orionid meteor shower, which is coming up next week. What's the Orionid meteor shower? Well, the Orionid meteors that we observed come from Halley's Comet. This comet orbits the sun every 76 years. I think it's back in 2160. I don't think I'm going to catch that one. Or 2060. Yeah, I probably still won't catch that one. Anyway. And dust particles from it are expelled from the comet's nucleus and are left behind in its path. Now, we intercept this path in late October of each year. Excuse me. The Orion meteor shower radiates from a point near the upraised club of the constellation of Orion the Hunter. Now, the bright star near the radiant point is the reddish star Betelgeuse, or Betelgeuse, I guess Betelgeuse. In 2023, the Orion meteor shower should provide its greatest number of meteors on the morning of October 22nd in a moonless sky. But the morning of October 21st is also worth a look. That would be next, what's today? Today's the 15th. So 6 days, yeah, Friday, I guess, or Saturday, sorry. Saturday into Sunday. Under a dark sky with no moon, the Orionids present a maximum of about 10 to 20 meteors per hour, but they are known for bright fireballs. Now, the first quarter moon will set around midnight, providing a dark sky near the peak of the show. And that's one thing, but I did want to bring up the second thing because there is kind of two things happening this week. Well, two big things, I guess. The second one is going to be International Observe the Moon Night. Now, next Saturday evening, astronomers from around the globe are encouraged to set up their telescopes and share views of our celestial neighbor. We'll be offering the same locally. I'll be posting more information about this on my Facebook page a little bit later on. Watch your area for announcements as well, because it's all across Canada, all across the world, really. So I'd like to put up this calendar. This calendar is available at sjastronomy.ca or rasknb.ca. Here's this calendar is put up by Kurt Nason, our local astronomy guru. And he puts out everything here that's happening throughout the month of, well, this is from October to November to the end of about mid-November, I guess. So if you're looking for any events, what's happening throughout the next month or so, you can find it right here. And that's our Celestial Wonder of the Week. So there you go. I haven't got a song for that one yet. Oh, well.
I can sing.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Carol says, yeah, don't say it a third time, Beetlejuice. Yeah.
So going back to Tim for a second, I remember the first time I met you, Tim, was that Fun Day National, and it was in 2013. And you had just talked about something I had no idea what you were talking about when you talked about, I think it was Green Lantern. And I think Mike knows about that. You certainly do. And you were running around, and I was talking to someone. You come over and said, do you have an extra SD card? I ran I ran out of SD card. Would you have?
I remember.
No, I'm not sure. But anyway, afterwards, I was filming trying to take pictures of the Milky Way, and I couldn't get it focused. And because of your ability to see more than most people, you walked right up to the camera, and in about seconds, you had that thing focused pin sharp, and I was able to get some Milky Way shots. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And that was the night that we met. And it was. And,
I remember.
Oh, it's Magic Lantern.
Magic
Yeah.
Lantern.
Magic Lantern. Thank you.
That's good software.
I don't know if you remember that night, Tim, but
I remember it perfectly. Yep. I remember. And in fact, we were just starting to get to know each other when we ended up moving back, because it was like the next year. So yeah, you were just starting to get into astrophotography. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that something? Anyway, it was a great memory. I'll never forget it. So
Yeah, if you had to thought of something more than Cygnus, that would have been good, though. Oh, well, Ryan's coming up pretty soon.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, Tim, you're again, you are quite involved in your community with light pollution abatement. I know that you've been to council meetings and everything else, and you're doing an amazing job down in your area, introducing people to the night sky and how we're losing that ability to see the night sky around the world, really, right?
Yeah.
And like Toronto, you can't even see the Big Dipper. I don't think all the stars, the Big Dipper. I think so. Where you are, you've been approaching council and been involved in some of the bylaws they've come out with as well. Is that right? Or
Yeah, there's been a lot of we've made a lot of headway actually. Even this year, I think it's approached. We're making quite a bit of headway. It's slow. It's a slow process. I mean, we started this back in 2017, so it's been very challenging. But we started a new society called the Starlight Development Society. So for some of you that may not know, the Southwest Nova, the municipalities of Clare, Argyll, and Yarmouth are designated as the first and currently only starlight tourist destination in the world, in North America. And we used to have a committee that was run. So this is a certification offered by the Starlight Foundation from Spain, who basically manage and protects the dark skies of the world, similar to RASC and the IDA and all of this thing. But they're sort of more of at a global level as well. So we're all working on the same thing. But anyways, we started with a committee of people trying to manage this, and it was just too much. So we've created a society called the Starlight Development Society. And you can visit our website at novascotiastarlight.ca. And we've got a lot of cool stuff happening there. A lot of things. We've got now a committee of about 15 members. And we're working essentially to educate people about light pollution, work with communities to try to create regulations around light pollution. This year, we've had a couple of successes. The town of Yarmouth, which is, our major light polluter of Southwest Nova, has basically created a dark sky policy for businesses coming into the area and to the town. Our municipality of Argyll will also be the first municipality in Canada to adopt specific light pollution bylaws. And it's also based on the RAS template for light pollution. So there's a RAS template that, if other people are interested in trying to create regulations around lighting, that's a great starting point. So we're hoping that'll pass this year.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, that's encouraging for sure. And of course, the other municipality of Clare, we've approached them. We'll be approaching them again. And even the town of Yarmouth got money for beautification of the downtown area. And part of that is to retrofit some of the lighting down there.
Oh, nice.
Which is exciting. So I've been in touch with the municipal or with the town planners, and they're on board. So we're getting everybody involved. We're getting the Chamber of Commerce involved to try to encourage the downtown businesses to have capped lighting and that sort of thing, to try to really help, and not just have regulations against light pollution, but just to try to reduce that light pollution. I mean, for example, the town of Yarmouth is only about 7,000 people, and looking at the light pollution map, it's pretty big for a little town. So there was a few errors made, and it happens with lighting. And we've actually started a community project called Counting Stars, and we're encouraging we're putting it to the schools, and essentially it's for the students to create like a little picture frame, go out and count some stars, log in on our website, and December 12th we'll be drawing for a telescope, binoculars, and a bunch of other prizes.
Nice, that's a great idea. Yeah.
And what it will do is people will be able to. It's a citizen science project that we're trying to encourage them to do. So
that's awesome. I mean, all people have to do, really, those who visit you, Tim, at Deep Sky Eye Observatory, and they can see the results of what can happen if they cooperate within the community to bring this about, right?
Yeah.
The skies are for everybody, like they say, and we have a whole generation coming behind us that have that need this information, that need to share the beauty that we've been able to, like the four of us have been able to share right along. So it's as much as a vacation for those people, I guess, to your place, or entertainment, as it is to educate people on the idea of what can happen if you take this issue seriously enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome. Thanks, Tim. We're going to talk a little bit about your Deep Sky Eye too here before we go. Okay, we're going to go to a product of the week though next, maybe, if we can. Who's got that? Mike Guyver.
Let's see if I get the right screen. You should have my buddy coming up here.
There he is.
Oh, you've been a while since you've seen Mike Guyver, but I call this product tip of the week because I have a product and then I have a tip to go with it. So the product is a desiccant cap. What is a desiccant cap, you might ask? Okay. As long as the night skies are clear, there's a chance you'll be out underneath them, enjoying the night sky if you can. Unfortunately, if moisture forms on your telescope optics, it can cause your views of the night sky to be terrible. It can also get inside your scope and cause mold or fungi to form over time if left uncleaned, costing a lot of money if you have to replace optics. But desiccant caps and packs can reduce the risk of soaking by soaking up the moisture and leaving your telescope free of mold and your nights free of worry. So desiccant caps, if you go out there and look around, they're priced anywhere at an 1.25 inch desiccant cap, get anywhere from $50 to $189 for a desiccant cap, believe it or not. And they're great to have. They'll save your scope, but that costs a lot of money. When you think about it, you're going to spend $189 on a desiccant cap. Well, guess what? Here's the MacGyver part. I can save you some money and you can make your own. But what do you need? You need a 35 millimeter film canister. If you know what that is, you're getting old. You need an 1/8 inch drill bit. And believe it or not, those desiccant bags that come with your electronic packages that you order off Amazon, or even with some pills that you get from the pharmacy, and about 10 minutes of your time. What do? You drill 3 to 5 holes in the bottom of the cap, something to let the air in. The canister, you place that desiccant bag inside the film canister, cap it, shove it in your eyepiece because it fits in an 1.25 inch eyepiece perfectly. And if you have a 2-inch, just get an 2-inch to 1.25 inch reducer and then shove the cap in and you'll still have it work. And guess what? You're done. That's all it takes is the bag, the 35 millimeter film canister and a couple of holes drilled in the bottom. And that's my MacGyver and product tip of the week.
Now that's a pretty awesome product, and yeah, I mean, I might get a dozen of those for $189.95. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, could you not use the buttercup? You know, the buttercup idea that you have. Could you not take one of those buttercups and pour some desiccant in it, put a cap on it, and use it?
If you can get it to recap, sure, but I'd rather put butter in it and recap it and save it for the next star party.
Muffins, my friend. I have a question for you, Mike, about that because I know you've been doing that for a while. How long do those desiccant bags last in those?
A lot of these desiccant bags, believe it or not, they'll last for months. You can do 6 months probably easy. And then you can actually take the bags out, put them in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it rejuvenates the desiccant. You just pop it back into your film canister and away you go again.
Yes,
So
sir.
don't throw them away.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, keep those desiccant bags, man. Don't check them out. There's a good use for them.
That's also good too because most people spend more time with their telescope in the house than they do out. And a lot of people keep it in the basement. So if it's damp and wet in your basement, you should as well keep one of those in there as well, right?
Or your garage. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
Yep, that's great. That saves you money for new eyepieces or like more of your Star Wars toys are in the background?
Or a weekend at Tim's.
Right?
Coffee at Tim's, yeah.
Or muffins.
Yeah. Tim, tell us a little bit about Deep Sky Eye there, if you would.
So Deep Sky Eye, eh? Well, it's this little observatory that's out in the middle of, well, I would say nowhere, but pretty close to the middle of nowhere. And we do a night sky program for our for anybody that's interested in learning a little bit about the sky and seeing some pretty cool stuff that's up there in the sky. We call it the Nocturnal Sky Theater. And so it's a program that lasts about a couple of hours. And, you know, we do a little bit of, we do a presentation that's projected out on our screen. We have a big screen on the side of the building. And we have a demonstration of our telescope. We have a 14-inch Edge HD with a hyperstar lens. And we demonstrate you know, how that telescope works, show a live view of something in the sky on a screen. And then we turn off the projector and we do a night sky tour. And then we look at the night sky with assortment of different telescopes, depending on what's out there. I have a number of telescopes, some that are used for planets, some that are used for deep space, some that are used for the moon. We usually have one telescope set up with a cell phone attached to it so that we can take a picture of either the moon or the planets if they're available. And I usually have a couple of things there. I usually have a camera running a time lapse of the experience and the night sky that I share with people as well that take the experience. So all the stuff we do, people kind of leave with a little package of, you know, of remembrance of what they saw at least. And it's a lot of fun. Some people decide they want to stay overnight. We have these sky bubble tents, which are awesome. And they've been so popular over the last, since we've started in the last few years. It's an inflated tent that has a little heater inside and a real bed. And you can, basically it's a 16-foot dome with an 11-foot clear vinyl top to it. So a beautiful kind of view that you can have of the night sky in comfort. So, and we also have a cabin. People can go and do kayaking and, have a campfire, roast marshmallows. A lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. I just shared your link to your site. So thanks very much. Okay, let's go from there to, we got to get to Rosanna's fun facts at the moment.
And while I'm getting that up, I want to ask Tim, how long a drive is it from Yarmouth to where you are?
It's about 27 minutes.
Oh, that's
27 minutes. No accuracy there.
I wonder how many times you've been to Yarmouth.
About. I like the word about.
So all you have to do from St. John is just take the ferry over from St. John to Digby, and an hour and a half or so, you're there. An hour and a half to 2 hours. You're in
Right at
Quinn.
your door.
Paraglide, maybe paraglide if you want to,
Okay.
We've been threatening to come down, and we just haven't gotten down there. Wouldn't it be fun to do a show from Tim's place?
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
Just that.
That would be cool. Anyway, just something to thought.
I don't know how Chris would bring his 6 screens, though.
We'll get them there. Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to have this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey, welcome back, Rosanna. So glad to have you back again. And this week is a current fun fact. We actually have Rosanna, and she did her great thing that she always does, and supplies us with some really fun things to talk about. So let's get right into it. So Rosanna writes, I don't know about St. John. I hope everyone was luckier there, but there was no visible Suzuki in my apocalypse sky on Saturday. Apocalypse is now my favorite substitute word for Apahawk, ever since my brother's phone auto-corrected it to that. I think we will even use it on a few pieces of mail and see if Canada Post notices. Imagine her phone's called her place Apocalypse instead of Apahawk. Unbelievable. So Suzuki is the simplest projection, in its simplest projection, can mean lining up of a pair or more of connected things. Let me see if I can figure out which way we're going with our, just hang on a sec. I just got to get the picture to come up because I've got that and I don't see the rest of them. So you just hang on 1 second.
Love that dragonfly, though.
Yeah.
It's not transferring over. Why is that? I got that one. But for some reason it's not coming up. Just hang on a sec. Sorry guys. It should. It shows like it's here on the screen, but it won't pop up. Good golly, Miss Molly. Let me just try that one more time. And maybe it's under this one. It comes up on this screen, but not the other. See if I can move it. Here, we'll try it this way. See if this works.
There you go.
There we go. All right, kids, line up for picture day. Oh my gosh. So also making a list of factors needed when trying to solve a problem, and then Eureka finding a possible fitting solution that could be loosely called, and it's called Suzuki, which is kind of a funny word, of some sort. So how about this? Now let's see if we can get this to work. Oh, wrong one.
Rosanna's.
There we go. I went the wrong way. So 3 guesses as to what that is.
Brain matter.
Pretty close.
That's 2. That's 1 guess. Anybody else want to try it?
I think I might have stepped on that the other day out in the woods.
I was at the Belding Hill Farms, and there's all kinds of that stuff all over the place. Anyway, you're looking at a confocal laser scanning microscope image of a 1 millimeter item. This item may be a major support for human life in space. So what is it? It is called a watermeal, the smallest flowering plant on Earth. Now, the object picture contains watermeal that had been placed in a centrifuge and subjected to 20 times the gravity on Earth to see if it would actually still grow. I think I have to go this way. There we go. To see if it actually would still grow. So what's so great about that? Well, a lot of things, actually. It has no roots, stems, or leaves. It is basically a sphere growing on an aquatic surface. It releases a bounty of oxygen, is high in nutritional value, especially protein, and is completely edible, leaving behind nothing. Here is a picture of less gravity traumatized watermeal snack. So that's what you're seeing now is a watermeal snack. I suspect you would have to eat a lot of it to feel full. So the thought of growing this and eating it daily may have made a few people claw back their astronaut applications, but it is already being eaten in soups and salads on Earth, and perhaps not just locally available here. Another possible example of things coming together rather productively is the new sandbox in Germany. In situ testing for space equipment is complex and has to be developed on Earth. Typically, engineers and scientists developing this next lunar or Martian robotic explorers would seek out destinations that, although they may appear alien to planet Earth, they are really just extremely exotic parts of this planet. The robotics team at DLR Germany Space Agency decided they could do better and stay home as well. They built a 1,500 square foot test bed for their upcoming lunar and Martian exploration bots. Now here's actually an overhead drone shot of that test bed. Now the test bed, which sits in the town of Oberpfaffenhofen, and Rosanna didn't think I was going to be able to do that one. But anyway, it's called Oberpfaffenhofen, contains plenty of simulants, basalt, lava rocks, and suet, a type of melted rock commonly found in impact craters. The terrain has all sorts of tunnels, gullies, dunes, hills, boulders, etc. It is connected via a trail to the test site for planetary rovers, an already existing system run by the DLR's Institute of System Dynamics and Control for a similar purpose. The third possible example of a pair of items that are Suzuki in action would be the James Webb Space Telescope and the Hubble. Now, some might have thought that these two telescopes are actually competitive in function, but the opposite is actually true. They are complementary. The Hubble capture of the NGC 5068 just released on October the 9th. This is a barred spiral galaxy of about 20 million light years away. And this image of NGC 5068 that you're looking at is an ultraviolet visible and near infrared light image from, of course, NASA, Chandar University, and a number of other ones that go on with the credits. And this is James Webb's capture of the same galaxy. Doesn't even look the same at all, does it?
Wow, yeah.
So the James Webb's image of NGC 5068 is much different than the Hubble's. In the Hubble image, dark lanes of dust and gas obscure many of the individual stars, but in the James Webb's image, those same lanes are almost invisible. The James Webb Space Telescope and the Hubble aren't in competition. Their skill sets complement one another, and together they provide more complete, more detailed images of objects like image 50 or NGC 5068. So this is a beautiful grouping with the lower left picture from the DCAM overlaying both the Hubble and the James Webb images. She said, sorry, I couldn't get a larger version, but you get a little idea of those two together, what it can actually look like. So clouds may have obscured a rare moment of Suzuki, I'm going to say that, but there will come another. Be sure to practice spelling. I'm going to spell it for you. It's SYZYGY. It's worth 21 points in Scrabble. I don't think so. And that's this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
21 points in Scrabble. I like it.
Anyway, it was a hard one to pronounce. She had to kind of spell it out for me like a dictionary would in order I could say it.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Thank you, Rosanna. That was so interesting. And you know what? It's so true what she talks about with those two observatories that are out there. They
Yeah.
do two totally different things, but yet complement each other. And we're now seeing things that we thought we knew about that we don't know. We know so much more now by having the complement of both of those telescopes working. So
Keep Hubble going as long as we possibly can, for sure. That
Yeah.
that mission was just superb, and now with Webb complementing all of that information, the two of them can look at. I mean, you watch when the comet comes in. There's one coming up, I think, C 2023 A3. They're talking about next year, next October, and I'm sure you'll have both scopes pointed at that. And we'll get a whole lot more of data. It really is special now to be able to get both scopes on that, for sure.
absolutely.
Thank you, Rosanna, for another great topic.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure. Okay, let's move from there to our photos, and then we're going to get to our closing because I know we're running a little bit long, but oh well. I think people are okay. Let me bring up our photos here first. And I gotta bring up our notes too. I'll get them shared on the right screen. Get my notes over here. No, I just have to get, I only get 4 screens running now. I gotta get a few more.
In case you guys don't know, the data from the James Webb Space Telescope is available, and you can actually download the images, and not the processed images, but the unprocessed images.
And
So, you astrophoto guys out there, give it a shot. Download some of the data and start playing with it. It's pretty cool.
Adam Block and those guys are doing that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
if you know what, there's the answer to our cloudy nights, isn't it?
that's it. Okay, let me share a screen here, and we'll get some photos on the go. Let me know when to get that up. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, we're going to start with Irene Doyle. Irene says the sun taken when the sky was very covered with smoke with my Nikon P1000. That's not bad for a camera view, huh?
Not bad at all.
Not at all.
Captured that one up. Here's another one here. And then she has the moon on one of those rare clear skies. We got this is during the supermoon of October 2nd. And again, skies looked pretty clear, but there was still smoke in the air. And then she got a nice capture of Jupiter and its moons taken October 2nd.
Oh, very nice.
Also with a Nikon P1000.
Very nice.
Nice show, she says. Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Irene.
Hmm.
These ones come from Jeff Pendlebury. Jeff says, hey guys, a few images here as I was out midweek because the skies were fairly clear and no wind to speak of, and nice temps. Now, there's a couple of questions here, but I'll probably put them to you later, Paul. I'll just read through them quickly. Maybe you can reply back to Jeff or through me, and I can reply back to Jeff. So I'm curious about what I'm looking to achieve after running my images through Lightroom. Seems that astro pictures can be manipulated by the sliders more so than, say, a regular landscape image shot during the day. Would there be a standard that I might be looking to achieve? For example, the darker the sky, the better, or is the final image simply a matter of personal preference? Now, he says that was his question. I can put it, I'll send you the message later on, Paul.
Yeah, okay.
These are shot from Nikon D7500, 20 millimeter, ISO 1600, f 3.5, 15 seconds. So I did vary my settings, 12 to 25 seconds, ISO 1600 to 2000, and ended up with about 50 images to pick from. The lighthouse is in Cove Head, PEI, he says, Cavendish Park area, and I had to ensure that I was situated so as not to see the actual light when shooting. Then I ventured down the road to Dalvey and stumbled across this the stairway access to the ocean. Then a light bulb come on, he said, stairway to heaven. There's a very nice Orion sitting there, and he's got other here. So
all three of
That's
them
cool.
lined up. Orion, Taurus, and Pleiades.
nice job, Jeff.
Very nice.
Thanks for those. Okay, we're going to move from there on to Jeff. I will get back to you with Paul's response. Kathy Adams, beat the clouds this morning, she says. It was
Beautiful.
yeah, so she got the sun. Good stuff. Look at all the sunspots. Isn't that nice?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to see all that activity, and all this is going to continue right through to the solar eclipse of next year too. So
They're really well centered now, aren't they?
yeah, they are. It was great to see the partial eclipse happening yesterday online, and you could see the eclipse approaching these sunspots as it was moving across the disk, right? So pretty fascinating. Thanks, Kathy. Another one there, 3565 and 3564, a couple of sunspots. These are facing us, I believe, right now. This one came in from Duckman, Arsenal. Duckman sent it up on my Facebook page. Sometimes I can't get them on large enough, so I'm going to show you the address later to send them to. But This is the daytime moon back on October the 3rd. And this one came from David Hoskin. David says, waning crescent moon with earth shine.
Nice.
Regulus there in the middle. And Venus imaged this morning before sunrise. That was the other day. The faint star to the upper left of Venus is 31 Leo, which is this one here. I had to merge and blend two different exposures to get the earth shine to be visible without blowing out the crescent. Yeah, that's for sure. Good job though, David.
Yeah, looks good.
Work. Okay, go from there to Mr. Powell's image here of the challenge of the day. October the 11th, moon 26 days old and in the waning crescent phase of its lunar cycle, 9% illuminated. Good job, Mike. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
That was, it just jumped right out though.
Yeah.
How high in the sky was it, Mike?
Not very, probably 45 degrees maybe ish.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
Nice job.
nice.
And
Wow.
from there, we go to some eclipse pictures. Here's Mike's capture at St. Croix Beach.
Yesterday.
Close to the end, he said, when the clouds departed, captured with a Canon 70D, Tamron 70 to 300 millimeter lens, and a 4000 ND filter, processed and colored in GIMP. Nice job, Mike.
Nice. How
I
long,
had to get something. What's
Yeah.
that?
how long was it visible, Mike?
Well, I'd say we could see the whole thing, but the clouds in between, we missed the first 15 minutes. And then as it went on near the end, as the sun was actually coming, or the moon was coming off it, we could see it clear as a bell. Just blue sky, but 90% of it was clouded over.
Well, you got that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's a lot more than a lot of people got for sure. Dan Garrett sent this one in. This one again came through Facebook, but shot through my 80 millimeter refractor, he says, with a 20 millimeter Kellner eyepiece and a Galaxy S10 cell phone till the clouds rolled in. This is from Los Gatos in California.
Wow. I got a lot more eclipse than we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, much more. I'm going to move here to one from Brad Perry. I think this is Brad's. Yes, it is. Yep. He said, hi, Chris. Here's my capture of yesterday's eclipse. This was taken at 3 p.m. in Fredericton. I almost didn't bother because it was looking so overcast, but I kept my camera at the ready, and eventually it did poke out through the few lighter patches of clouds, just long enough for a couple of quick snaps. So good stuff, Brad.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Always get some nice photos, Brad. These came from Carol Bean. Carol had these up on my Facebook page. She said, I didn't notice sunspots until I started processing my photos. They're quite prominent once you see them. They are for sure. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad. A little bit more than we had here, I guess, because you're that much closer to the path. And here's her second shot.
That's a nice shot.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the clouds and stuff that she did around. It's beautiful.
Some great shots. Thanks, Carol. Gary Cole sent this one in from Playa Linda, Aruba. This is from Aruba.
Yes,
Aruba,
sir.
Jamaica. Who I want to, I like that song. I know the song, but I've never been there. Great shot, Gary. Thanks for sharing that. Lots of image there for sure. This one came from I'm going to say this wrong, Guillermo Desa from Palm Beach, Florida.
Wow.
Nice. So I envy all these people that got the real nice views, but oh well, our turn's coming, isn't it, guys?
They had cloud too, apparently. So
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Jason Dane sent this one in. This is Jason's, yes. From here's an image from the maximum just west of Halifax today. He said yesterday. So nice shot, Jason.
you got it.
And coming down to the last one here, Jeff Dalton, photos were taken at 142 and 150 near Canning, Nova Scotia in the Annapolis Valley. So there's one, and here's the second one. So just kind of as it was
Oh, right on the edge.
right on the edge. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. And if you'd like to share your photos, we love getting them. So send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to bring them up on our next broadcast. So thanks very much, everybody. Appreciate that.
Nice.
I just need another second or two to get my other windows out of the way so I can get to our closing statements. And
Then we got a quick question from Mary King. She wants to know if there's a discount for any person that gets to stay a whole year in your bubble tent.
you have to answer that one for us, Tim.
Oh, that was a tough question. We can talk offline.
Yeah, we can talk online. That's right. Okay, so that's our show then for this evening. We all hope that you enjoyed our program tonight. First of all, I want to say hello to my brother Danny. Danny, hey,
Oh, hey, Dan.
Damn.
hey, Tuesday every week. Good to
And
see you again.
also want to make a mention again for Homestead Productions for
Absolutely.
putting together that video for us.
Mm.
Did an absolutely wonderful job on it, and we're so pleased that he
Yeah.
contributed his time pro bono just to help us out. So thank you very much, Mike Emerson from
Thank you.
Homestead Productions.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So we'd like to special thanks, of course, to our guest, Tim Doucette, for joining us again this evening. Thanks, Tim. Great to have you on the show. Always great to have
Thank you.
you. buddy.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. And don't forget to check out deepskyeye.com for his location and book an event with him. Special thanks again goes out to Rosanna once again for her fabulous fun facts episodes. Rosanna, always appreciated. Thank you. Next week's guest now will be our friend and longtime RASC NB member, Emma McPhee, will be joining us next week.
Hey,
Hey, Emma's going to have a nice chat with us. In 2 weeks' time, we have another special guest coming up. I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's going to be pretty exciting. So we're really looking forward to the one coming in a couple of weeks as well. So we hope you enjoy us for that show as well and chat more about our journey into astronomy. And we'll have all of our other segments as well next week, of course. So remember, too, we do love getting your photos, so send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to share them on our next broadcast. Special thanks again to our friends at Rogers for joining us again this evening. And so until next week, everybody, wishing you all clear skies. And as we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies. That's the best part. And then keep your scopes pointed up.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And let's go to our little clip here for the end.